What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fazi Fitness. So the victory of Roman aka Venom, the guy from Ukraine, at Europa Pro Germany this year, that must have tasted very sweet. Because this finally happened after he placed second 3 times behind middleman in a row. And that happened in the last 6 weeks or so. Now for those of you guys who do not know, this isn't Roman's first Olympia qualification. If I'm not mistaken, he competed at the Olympia back in 2023 and he placed outside of that top 10. So this guy took some time off. He overall improved his physique and all of his showings that we have seen this year, they were far better in terms of everything, from every aspect of bodybuilding. Every single thing which is of the utmost importance, he improved on every single one of that. Just to give you guys an idea of how improved some areas of his physique have become, have a look at this comparison of his back double biceps. He got bigger, he has more density, more maturity, and way more control compared to back in 2023. So I think Roman is gonna be a great competitor, a great addition to this year's 212 Olympia lineup. And the way this guy has been improving, if he continues to do that at this pace, he's gonna be among the top 212 Olympians very soon. So a top 10 finish for Roman at the Olympia this year, that seems very realistic. Before you scroll or blink too hard, have you subscribed yet? Please don't make me bring out the emotional blackmail. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon. It's free, it's painless, and that makes me look way cooler than I actually am. So we often discuss that classic physique is very subjective, and different people out there, they have different idea about what classic really is. But there are some physiques, like for instance this guy trainer, who I believe has a great shot at winning Europa Pro today. This guy is born to be classic. Look at those ratios of his waistline to his quads, absolutely sensational. Just look how wide he opens up for that front double biceps. So the guy with the smallest waistline here today at Europa Pro in classic physique, that is yummy. So he was also there in the first call out. But he kind of had the same problem as we saw from him last year. He just isn't muscular enough for the kind of frame that he has. He doesn't have the mass to compete against guys like Trainer, Valentin Petrov, Eric Rabe, or even a guy like Adrian Cyronic, who we just saw at this year's Texas Pro or Tampa Pro if I'm not mistaken. And even though some of these guys, they are former Olympians, and Trainer on the other hand, this is his pro debut, but the eyes, they just keep going towards him. Now that being said, this is extremely poor lighting on the stage, and all these guys, they must be way harder and way more drier, especially in person. So Trainer's biggest competition here, in my opinion, that seems to be Eric Rabe, who is definitely more shredded. But this guy on the other hand, he has more of a classic look. He has a more pretty and a way more aesthetic physique, and is also carrying a lot more muscle. So it's gonna be kind of interesting to see who the judges pick here as their winner. Now I do believe both these guys, they are fighting for their first pro win here. Now if we are going by the shape, Trainer is head and shoulders above the whole competition here. Now hopefully he has more room to grow, to get bigger, build up that back. Because if that is the case, he's gonna have a very bright future in classic physique. So the last Olympia qualifier for the men's open bodybuilding, that is now underway as we speak. So Urs Quinton going for his second pro win in just 2 weeks after switching over from classic physique. And that was the biggest storyline coming into this show. And what a surprise that Urs was in that first group of guys along with Ali Edward. So is it just me, or Ali is looking mind-blowing here next to Urs Quinton? So this is something we did not see at Yamamoto Cup last weekend. No one in that entire lineup was able to look very muscular and very big, standing next to Urs Quinton. And Ali right here is giving that vibe of being very thick and a very dense open bodybuilder. And the man came in confident as hell. And the thing is, he should be confident because the man is on. When we look at the arms of Urs and how big they're looking, it's pretty clear that those arms on Urs, they always took the biggest hit when he was trying to make that weight cut off. And the biceps and the arms entirely on him, they are looking pretty impressive here. So in the first impression, I do however think that there isn't enough oil and tan on Urs, which is something which can be fixed later during the show. So that back double biceps comparison between Urs and Ali, that paints a very clear picture that Urs needs a lot of work, especially in that back department, to catch up to some of these thick and very dense looking guys in the men's open, especially from the waist up. But again, I must add here that the lighting is just so bad here, and we cannot judge what kind of conditioning these guys are in. Now, based on that live stream, it kind of seems like that Quinton Beastwood, he doesn't look as sharp as he was last weekend in Italy. But these pictures, they are showing that the man is in a superb condition and is also looking full as a house. Now, Quinton kind of having the same weak points as we saw on him last weekend. The fact is he has some of the best aesthetics in that entire lineup. He just isn't muscular enough, or he doesn't have enough mass for the kind of frame that he has. But that being said, we will see whether he can maintain that full look across his chest and the shoulders region, and that too throughout the show, because that is the area where he kind of gets flattened out as the show continues. Now, I personally think Quinton is giving away too much size in the hamstrings and the glutes area, trying to chase that extra bit of conditioning, especially standing next to a guy like Urs, who has that massive lower half and that too front to back. But that being said, we shall see how it plays out tonight. So if the judging is based on who has got the best symmetry along with those beautiful lines and good enough size, then Urs once again is the guy to beat here. But if they go by the usual men's open criteria, then you can make a great case for Ali Edward too. He is one of the most impressive bodybuilders to step on this year's Europa Pro stage tonight. So looking at these pictures taken from a cell phone, which appears to have captured more detail, Urs is 100% on, and the man is looking better than what we saw last weekend. He looks very hard and very dry here, so credit must be given. There were only 5 mandatories in classic physique, and the man hits all the other bodybuilding poses to absolute perfection. So is there ever a time where Roman Fritz doesn't show up in shape? This is him, merely after 5 to 6 weeks of dieting. And the man as always came in ripped, shredded to the bone. Good legs, but as always, his upper half just isn't good enough, not muscular enough, especially in comparison to his lower half. And that is why I do not think he's going to be in that first call out. So the other 2 big names here, Louis Breed and Tim Woodisham, they also showed up in a very impressive condition, especially Louis Breed. He came in looking like a tank. He has that hard, granite-like conditioning as always. Now let's take a look at the first call out. So we have 6 guys here with that same top 2 in that center stage as last weekend. So Urs and Quinton, and then we have Mark Hector, Louis Breed, Tim Woodisham, and Ali Edward. And Tim, by the way, came in massively improved compared to what we saw in Italy last weekend. Now Urs was a guy who was told that he will never win the classic physique Olympia title, and that was because of his arms and his back. And that is why it is so unbelievable to see that Urs's arms, especially that left bicep, that is bigger than both Quinton and Mark Hector. So Quinton showed up more shredded and more ribbed than what we saw last weekend. So he compromised a bit on the size aspect, but that overall symmetry on him this time, that is looking insane. So have a look at that front relaxed among the top 6 in that first call out. So where do the eyes directly go? Definitely towards Urs. What an amazing bodybuilding talent. So kind of seems like Urs is the one winning the front shots here, but Quinton has more detail, especially in the back shots and also on the side of his legs. So this might be closer than what we saw last weekend. And the fact that Quinton is looking a lot sharper in those front shots too. I mean, there isn't that big of a gap between him and Urs as we saw in Italy. So Quinton does have a shot here. Now I am kind of surprised that Ali wasn't given a chance to get compared to the apparent top 2 here. Now if we look at these comparisons, there is a solid reason why you do not see Mark Hector ever hitting a front double biceps or the front lat spread in his posing routine. Now I have no idea whether it's a mobility issue after that shoulder surgery, but he has a lot of difficulty executing both these shots, and that is why right from the start he's kind of playing catch up against Quinton and Urs, because he loses both these shots, and that too by quite some margin. So he won't be fighting for the top spot tonight. So we had a big second call out, but we'll talk about that more after the results come in. So the judges did do a confirmation round, the final call out of two guys, Urs versus Quinton as expected. So this might be the best look of Quinton that we have seen so far throughout this year, and that is why he's making such a good case for his first pro win here. So this is also one of those rare times when Quinton did not flatten out throughout the prejudging. But it's kind of too hard to give the final verdict based on the live stream video. So this is most probably gonna be a much closer show on the scorecards compared to what we saw in Italy last weekend. So that's it from the prejudging. Let me know who do you guys have winning here. And also hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video. And smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.